When do I know it is the right time to follow a higher calling and give up all in the pursuit of God and happiness? First of all, it's a very interesting irony, and actually a very, very tragic irony. Listen to the wording of the question. I won't read the whole thing again, but the gist is, when do I know that I should give it all up in the pursuit of God and happiness? So if what you have now isn't making you happy and doesn't have God, then what exactly do you have? What exactly are you giving up that is so difficult to give up? I mean, look at that tragic irony. When do I give it all up for God and happiness? Sometimes people ask, when do I give it up, for austerities? Okay, so that's sort of a different way of thinking about it. But giving it up for God and happiness, well, now, whenever you have the thought, what is it that we're holding on to? If there isn't God or happiness in it. It reminds me of one of my favorite stories about Hanuman, where at the end of the war, he's the hero. Those of you not familiar with the storyline of the Ramayana, don't worry about it for right now. We'll take it up at a different satsang. But for right now, all that matters is Hanuman is the hero. He's the epitome of devotion. The epitome of devotion to God. And Hanumanji worships God in the name and the form of Lord Ram. So after the war, where he was the hero, Lord Ram's wife, whom he rescued, gives him a pearl necklace as a gift. And she says to him, now Hanuman, be very careful, because this is very, very precious. Take good care of this. Hanumanji is in the form of a monkey. So you have to have the picture in your mind when you hear the story. So Hanuman takes the necklace, and then Sita is watching as Hanuman takes the necklace, and he's looking at every single pearl, and he looks at it from this way and from that way and this way and that way, and then he bites them in half, again looks, spits them out, and he's going one by one through the pearls of this precious necklace, biting them, spitting them out. And finally, Sita Ma says, Hanuman, what are you doing? I told you that mala was very precious. And he says, well, yes, Sita Ma. If it's precious, it means that my Lord Ram is here. So I'm looking for Lord Ram in the pearls, and if he's not there, then it means that pearl is not precious, that pearl is worthless. So I spit it out, and I go on to the next one. And I'm waiting till I find my Lord Ram in the pearl. That's when I'll know that's really the precious one. And I love that story because, as indicated in the question, we sometimes lose sight of really what's precious. When you talk about giving it up for God and happiness, you've got to ask yourself again, what is it I'm giving up? Now, here's the interesting thing. Having a job does not keep you from being happy. Having a job does not keep you from being connected to God. There's all kinds of stories in the scriptures of even people with very low-level jobs, cobblers. This is why in the scriptures we have stories of rishis even, great sages. Santra Das, he's a cobbler, okay? So there's no teaching in which, no truth in which having a job, even a low-level job, keeps you from being connected to God and happiness. A lot of us think, well, if I got a raise, if I got a promotion, if I got a better job, then I'd be happy. But the scriptures emphasize, doesn't matter what your job is. You have the opportunity to be happy. There's also nothing about having a family that should keep you from being connected to God or from being happy. Again, looking in the scriptures, lots of stories of householders, married men, married women, mothers, fathers, who are connected to God, who are happy. And so when we talk about giving it all up, it doesn't mean you must quit your job, you must abandon your family. What it means is you must give up that which is keeping you from being connected to God and keeping you from being happy. That's all you've got to give up. If you're talking about when is the right time to follow a higher calling and give it all up for God and happiness, it means give up that which is keeping you low and keeping you disconnected from God and happiness, which means some internal stuff, some external stuff. The internal stuff is what we talk about in here all the time. Our egos, our attachments, our jealousies, our competitions, our ignorance, our attachment to how the rest of the world is behaving. If you just act the way I want, speak the way I want, treat me the way I want, do what I want, then I'd be happy. That thought keeps me from being happy. That thought also, by the way, keeps me from God, because the underlying truth of that thought is my happiness is dependent on you. जो मैं चाहती हूँ वो आप करोगे तो मैं खुश हो जाऊंगी. जो मैं चाहती हूँ आप अगर नहीं करोगे तो मैं खुश नहीं होंगी. इसका मतलब क्या है? इसका मतलब है कि my happiness, my joy is not in my hands. Well, God has told us in so many different ways, in so many different scriptures, it is up to us. There's no scripture I know of, no divine teaching I know of in which God says, until and unless you can get your husband or your wife or your mother-in-law or your daughter-in-law to do what you want, thou shalt not be happy. Nowhere. In fact, we're taught the opposite. We're taught the mind is the answer. Man eva manushyanam karanam bandha mokshayo. The mind is the key. Am I going to be free or am I going to be in bondage? The mind is the key. And so that which is keeping me from happiness and from God is my own mind. So when am I going to give that up? The games of my mind? Well, no time like the present, as they say. Puja Swamiji always says, whenever you wake up, it's morning. But there's also, along with that, there's some behaviors that if I'm really going to go on a higher calling, committed to God, committed to true joy, doesn't mean you have to leave everything and come to an ashram, but it does mean that there are some aspects of your life which will change. So for example, the way I spend my time, my free time, okay, I have to work, but the way I spend my free time Is it in ways that take me out of my truth, or in ways that bring me closer to my truth? So I remember, for example, when I was back in America, back in Los Angeles with my parents, after having been in India maybe only a year at that time, maybe 2 years. And my mom says to me one day, she says, so Frank is my dad, really wants that tonight we should all go for dinner and a movie. So I say, okay. I was already not eating really from outside, but I thought, okay, no problem. I'll eat something before we go. I'll have some fruit. I'll have a salad. Make my parents happy, no problem. I said, let's do one thing. Let's take 2 cars to dinner so that after dinner I can come home and you people can go on to the movies. So she says, no, it's really important to your dad that you also come to the movies. Now, of course, I know that's not true because my dad wouldn't care. But what my mom has known since childhood is that the way to get me to do anything is to tell me that my dad wants it. Because I'm much more likely to do what he wants than what my mom wants. So she says, it's really important to him that you go to the movies. So I say, all right, no problem. I'll come to the movies with you. I will bring my laptop. I will sit in the lobby and work. You people enjoy the movie. So my mom says, no, it's really important to him that you sit in the movie with us. I say to her, look, if you really want me, and it was some nice movie, I forget what they wanted to take me to, but it wasn't, some violence and sex and whatnot. It was going to be some nice cultural movie. So I say, look, if you really want me to give you 2 hours of my life, I'm happy to give it to you. You've given me so much. You've given me so much of your life. I can give you 2 hours of mine. If it's really that important to you that I should sit next to you in the movie, I'll do that. I said, but here's what you need to understand. Here's why I don't want to go to the movies. I said, I would actually rather sit and stare at a blank wall for 2 hours than go to the movies. Because my meditation is not yet that strong that I can sit in a movie watching the movie and actually still be meditating. If I'm sitting next to you in the movie, all my attention is going to go into the movie. I'm going to get completely engrossed in the movie, and I will have essentially lost 2 hours of my life. Whereas if I'm staring at a blank wall, at least I can be meditating, I can pray, I can plan for projects. They didn't make me go to the movies. But I share the story with you because we've only got a few spare hours of our day. We have to eat, we have to sleep, we have to bathe, we have to work. Many of us have to go to work or there's not food on the table. And the question then becomes, what do I do with the remaining hours that I have? And in some cases, it's only a few. What do I do with that? What's my goal? And so if I've decided I'm going to give it all up for God and happiness, it means I need to take full control over those hours. How am I spending them? Am I spending them in movies? Not that movies are bad by any means, it's just the hours are gone. Am I spending them doing things that are giving me just temporary enjoyment? Or am I spending them in ways that are actually taking me closer to God, closer to true happiness? Am I spending them in service? God has told us, serve. See me in everyone. Serve the poor, serve the needy, serve the gurus, this is what we're told, we're given, am I doing that? And by the way, this isn't only Hinduism. Every religion of the world I know of has deep, deep emphases on service as an essential aspect of our spiritual life. So am I serving? So these aspects of your life will change when you decide to follow a higher calling, of how you're actually spending your time. You'll find that your time feels much more precious to you, and you don't want to waste it. You know, it's interesting. Very frequently we'll say, well, I don't have time. The truth is, we all have time to do whatever we want. It's just, what do I make time for? And so, for example, somebody may say to me, if I'm back in California, oh, let's go to the movies. Well, chances are I'm going to say, I would love to. Unfortunately, I don't have the time. Now, that's true, meaning, not that I'm so busy I cannot pull away 2 hours, but it means that all of my waking hours in my hands that I'm not sleeping, eating, bathing are precious. I don't have enough time even in them to do all the spiritual work that I want to do all the seva I want to do. And so there isn't time for something that's much lower on my list. I may say to someone, you know, I don't have time to go to the movies, but why don't you come with me? Let's meditate together. Let's have satsang. Now he or she may say, oh, I'd love to. I don't have time. Again, true. Because the way that he or she is choosing to spend their time is going to be different. There isn't time at the end of their day to do those things. Each of us has to make decisions. What are my priorities? And so when I decide I'm going to give it up for a higher calling, for God, for happiness, it means I'm going to give up unconsciously wasting my time. Doesn't mean I won't have fun. Doesn't mean I won't enjoy life. Doesn't mean I'll never see a movie. Doesn't mean I'll never play a game. But it means I'll do it all consciously. I'm going to choose how I spend my time consciously. And I'm going to ensure that whatever I'm doing is really in service of God and of that higher calling. And that's what's going to bring me happiness. And so why not choose that now? The time for that is the minute that thought comes to you. So whoever's question this is, the answer is now. But it doesn't mean you have to give up your job and your family. Just give up that which is keeping you from God, keeping you from the deeper happiness. Slowly, 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 as life's circumstances change, you may give up other pieces. But there's no rule that you have to.